they were a young team, didn't shoot the ball well. Illinois looks to kind of be the same thing. Some freshmen that didn't seem like their shooting percentage.
Right. Well, guess what? That's out the door. Learned a really, really hard lesson, a good lesson, when we went to Nebraska. Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska, 3 really good point guards, all freshmen, that really make their teams go. And the young lady, Massey, that we're going to play against from Illinois is tremendous, fearless, just going to not back down. You know, with teams like Illinois and Nebraska, when there's nothing to lose, they can go out and play so much more relaxed. And I think teams that are playing for something, whether that's seeding or resume building, and I just think that if our group didn't learn their lesson at Nebraska, then I don't know what it will take for them to make sure that they're going to mentally be ready with our preparation. Physically, obviously, that's part of it too, but I think it's mentally how we approach the game, how we show up with our warm-up, and the energy that we have prior to getting on the floor.
Physically, how do you approach it? Coming off a double overtime game, and do you change anything, etc.?
Well, we took yesterday really off. I mean, we watched film. We watched the Iowa the recap from the Iowa game. We started our prep on Illinois with our guys. We shot free throws, and then several of them that played a lot of minutes either did rehab, got cold tubs, and just their normal after game routine with Robert, because we know how important that. Again, we're going to get on a bus here, get to Champaign, practice tonight, and we want to get into the gym because tomorrow morning I'm going to let them sleep in a little bit, have breakfast, and then get to the gym.
Just you kind of mentioned just keeping people physically ready to go. I mean, it doesn't seem like the freshmen, especially Darby, have hit any sort of freshman wall, or they just keep coming on strong.
Sure. Well, I think one of the things with Breezy and Darby is, and the thing that we've appreciated about them that's been consistent, if you spend any time with our group, is their enthusiasm, their energy level, their zest for life is unbelievable, and their zest for being in Indiana and being part of our program. They're just such great kids. They're great teammates, full of energy, coachable, and I think that's part of it, But we've been really happy with the strides that they've made. Now here going and finishing up February, going into March, we've seen some really good growth from all of our freshmen, Rhea included. She's just not as dynamic in her personality. Is a kid like Breezy and Darby.
And emotionally, do you have to calm these guys down a little bit after a double overtime win like that, or do you have to get them back up? Or?
The only thing is, again, we just have to remind them, again, of the lesson we had to learn at Nebraska. Is the same deal, Sam. I mean, we came off that great win at Michigan. And you try to warn them that you don't want a hangover effect. And Greg and I talk about this too on the radio prior to. Just really hammer home that, hey, great win, got to shelf that, and we got to move on. And this is a must-win for us. We have to win this game. And if there's some pressure in that, then so be it. It's just that's what it's about. And we've sort of put ourselves in this position because we didn't take care of business at Nebraska. We're going to have to make sure that, and our kids know that. They know what's at stake. We told them yesterday, we don't keep very much away from them as far as the task at hand and what we have to do in order to, for seeding and, like I said, to build that resume for postseason play. And they realize going into this thing that this is a must-win.
You guys played a lot of road games at the beginning of the year. You played 5 and 6. And now just kind of looking back on that, I guess, how has the team kind of come together, and did that kind of work out how you wanted it to work out?
Well, it was going to be interesting because this is the first season we've had the 16-game Big Ten game season. I thought at the beginning it seemed to work out well because last year I felt like with the 18-game season we were playing every 2 days. And this year, especially early on, we felt like we had more days of rest in between before we played our next game, our next contest. So I really liked how it the whole 16-game format. I particularly liked the way our schedule was this year, with being I think front end loaded, and and then we were home, but for a couple games, and we had to go back on the road. I don't like finishing on the road, but you'd rather finish at home. But it's not like it's a reasonable trip over to Champaign, so it's not a lot of, as far as travel fatigue, worrying about your guys from that perspective. We're in good shape, I think, and we're ready to go. And it's an early game for us, so it'll be like we don't have to sit around and wait all day like some teams have to. So, I think it worked its way out, I thought, throughout the season for, like I said, just the format I really liked.
And just talking about those freshmen, those three freshmen on the bench, they always seem to have so much energy.
Right.
And they're always dancing around, doing
Sure.
everything. Is that kind of emblematic of that group that they?
Well,
so
Breezy and Darby for sure. It's funny when the lights come on in Assembly Hall. There's another Rhea goalie that appears, right? Because we don't get to see that side of her often. Because when she's in practice, and if you travel with her, if you're on the bus, plane, doesn't matter. She's very stoic. Most of the time she's asleep, and so she loves her sleep. And so there's something about her being in Assembly Hall, and because she's not. She doesn't bring that kind of energy on the road, but I'll tell you, anytime those lights go on down the hallway, she goes to a whole nother level. And we've enjoyed watching film. That's one of the things we get to do is, video catches a lot of things, and so whether we're watching good clips, most of the time when we're watching good clips and we're watching the bench and how they're responding, those three kids have been always highlights for us as far as how they react to things. So that's good.
You guys gonna be rooting for Nebraska at all?
I'm only rooting for the Hoosiers. So sorry, I'm going to be selfish here. We gotta, because this is, like I said, it's a must-win. So I always try to tell the kids that you don't put your fate in somebody else's hands. You just worry about yourselves, and I gotta walk the talk, and not worry about what happens here today, tomorrow, and Sunday, and just focus on us, making sure our kids are ready mentally. That's my biggest task right now. That's my biggest job. Most important.